Good morning. It's first thing in the morning, and I am exhausted. I had a great night's sleep. Like you care. Anyway, you're like, get out on the road. It's like 6:45 or so. Thursday, August, let's say 23rd. I'm really bad at keeping track of dates. This is one of the offshoots that comes from working for yourself. You work every day, so your Fridays aren't really your Fridays, your weekends aren't really your weekends, and you lose track of days and dates. I really like how the lighting has that Star Trek half-face effect. That's why I left on all these bright lights. Anyway, little update for you. I talked to Vicky last night, of course, and this is how I get myself into trouble, because remember how I said I wasn't going to stay at a Motel 6 ever again? Well, I have reservations on the way back for the Motel 6 in Roseburg, not Roseburg, Roseburg's a different city. Was it Rockwell? Starts with an R, it's on the coast. Wow. Hey, you know what? It's right here in front of me. Hold on, I'm just gonna move the tripod, because this was standing, the tripod was standing on top of this. Okay, so, let's see. First thing in the morning, I cannot see a bloody thing. Even with glasses. This is what happens when you get ancient. Okay, I was right there on my page. This is an exciting video, just fast forward. Newport. Didn't start with an R at all. Newport. Wow. I was probably thinking about Roseburg, because I have a friend who lives in Roseburg who I'm not gonna be able to see, because this trip is just like slapped together and run up to Washington, and it's kind of been a crazy trip. I honestly 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, let's say 15 years ago, when I would drive up to Washington to hang out with my family, when my dad was still there and Blanche, my stepmom, was still around, and Dwight was still around. Dwight's now living on the East Coast. He's my other half brother. Anyway, I would go up in one day. I would just drive. Boom, one shot. And now, 15 years later, by the way, I've got a little thing. I think it's from inhaling too much smoke. Anyway, 15 years later, I can't do 650 miles, man. I drive 650 miles and I'm like, I want to lie down. So last night, I was talking to Vicky about this Motel 6 thing, and she's like, well, you know, you got this reservation in Newport, Oregon. I'm like, can you cancel it for me? I don't have my computer. I don't have access to the internet except on my phone, and I know you kids today with your phones, but no. I'm lazy, remember? Single defining characteristic. Anyway, so Vicky says, Vicky's looking it up on the internet. She's looking at the pictures on the internet, on their website probably, because she says, you know, it doesn't look too bad, of course, because it's their website. And somehow, I agreed to take one for the team and stay at a Motel 6 in Newport, Oregon. It could really suck, but here's the thing. As I was talking to her last night, I realized I never showed you the the closet I was staying in. So, here's what we're gonna do. This is the remnants of my motel room. Let's be honest. Today, now, okay, so you can see it's not a closet, right? It's a decent sized room. The other place was about a third this size. It was crazy. So anyway, I turned in bed, I would be looking at a wall. It was just like, it was kind of nuts. So now, having seen this Days Inn, yay, you'll have some context for Newport, Oregon's Motel 6. I'm so tired. I need coffee so badly. Okay, so here we are. off on another great adventure, heading up to Granger, Washington, and trying to talk even though my throat is killing me, man. I sucked up a lot of smoke yesterday, and that was fun. And then I got out to my car this morning and found that it was covered in a fine film of soot and ash. So, there you go. Really nice. Man, I am looking extra Duplo chunky this morning. Anyway, and if you saw what I had for breakfast, it probably didn't help. But again, you've got, yes, it's right over there. But again, you've got to stick with the safe things at a hotel brunch, especially at a cheap hotel or cheap motel. So, how you doing? Okay, let's turn the camera around so you can see where we're going once we get through this stoplight, that is.
Welcome to Washington, specifically Granger, Washington, home of just a whole bunch of dinosaur statues, which is really odd, but interesting. It's a quiet little place to stop, and it has me asking that same question I often ask myself. Specifically this time, the question is, what the hell am I doing in Granger, Washington? I've asked myself that same question on the Pacific Crest Trail and many different places where I've hiked or just gone. What the hell am I doing here? See, the thing is, for a lot of writers, it's difficult to stay and sit down and write. For me, it's difficult to leave. I want to be back at my keyboard writing. It's a very strange compulsion. But here I am in Granger. It's a sleepy little farming community. I'm here sitting with the dinosaurs, and it is very smoky. But fortunately, it doesn't smell as bad as the smoke in Northern California and Oregon. It just looks really bad, and yeah, my eyes are starting to hurt. So I don't think I'm going to spend much more time outside, considering what the smoke has done to me thus far. Just really crappy inhalation of smoke results. Anyway, I'm talking backwards. Backwards talking am I. So I thought I'd take you on a little tour of the city and show you some of the statues and find a place for lunch. So, I'm leaving Granger, having driven all around the little town, and it's a sweet, quiet little community. Nothing against it, but not as many dinosaurs as I was hoping for. And also, Now, I come from a city, if you're watching this and you're from a small town. So understand that where I come from is a little bit different. I was kind of hoping for a better selection of places to eat. I was kind of hoping to stop for lunch, but I don't want to say Granger is economically depressed, but it made me a little bit depressed. Again, it could be all the smoke hanging over us. That certainly doesn't help. And then, or I should say, and now that I'm on my way to the airport to pick up Vicky, two things have happened. First of all, my phone is dying. You just never know, when that's gonna strike. So I'm not gonna film any more from this point on this afternoon. I'm gonna plug my phone in right over here and let it charge, and be ready for when I finally get a signal again, because I've got no phone service out here. Sprint. And I was kind of relying on Siri to be my navigator. I'm using the car's navigation, but the car's navigation leaves a little bit to be desired, by which I mean it sucks. So I'm heading out to Pennish, where basically a lot of roads kind of come together. And I know that from there, worst comes to worst, I can find my way up to the 90, I can find my way west where there's cell phone reception. Something about getting out here where nobody is, they just don't have the service that you hope for. Anyway, so that was kind of my trip to Granger. It was a wild goose chase, or a wild dinosaur chase. Just wanted to go out and see. I'd heard they had all these dinosaur statues, and there were a couple I couldn't get pictures of just because I didn't want to have to get out of my car and huff more of the smoke. Going straight, not turning. Okay. Sorry, I'm multitasking. I'm talking to the camera, looking around for signs of direction, and oh yeah, driving. So I'm gonna stop now. It's been a sad start to my trip, to be honest. Almost as soon as I left, there was heat, smoke, and smoke. So, not great, but at the same time, I'm just happy to be out seeing all of this. I think we cannot understate how badly they laid out these roads. We cannot understate how blessed we are, however you want to put it, that we live in a time when you could just get in a car and say, I'm going to drive over to Washington, see how that looks. Haven't been out there in a while. We got the corn as high as, well, the people in Washington, because it's legal now. It all looks quite divine, to be honest, coming from someone who lives in the city. So that's it for me. Until the next video, bye-bye.
And there you have it. You've just survived another Ken LaSalle video. For more information about new releases, projects in the works, or even stuff from the archives, head on down to kenlasalle.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and all around social media, just as long as it's called Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for your support, as always. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, and I'll be back soon with more nonsense.